Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to our YouTube channel. Let's get started with another educational video. So today we are going to talk about a very interesting strategy which is not going to help just the option sellers. This is going to be very rewarding for option buyers as well. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So the strategy that we are going to talk about is something called as inside bar strategy. Now, you would have definitely heard a lot about this, and by now you are totally confused whether to take entry basis the child bar or the mother bar. We will basically clear all such concepts and we will also look for examples. Those would be the live market examples. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's get started. So first and foremost, what is an inside bar? An inside bar is basically bar which forms inside the previous bar. So the high of this particular candle, look at this particular candle, the previous candle, the high and the low. The inside bar high would be lower than the high of the previous candle, and the inside bar low would be higher than the low of the previous candle. So what I'm mentioning is the inside bar will have a lower high as compared to the previous candle, and it will have a higher low as compared to the previous candle. So what does this mean? This typically means that there is an confusion or an indecision. Why there is a confusion? Because if the buyers are so strong, they will definitely break the high of the previous candle. Or if the sellers are so strong, they will break the low of the previous candle. But because there is a confusion, they are unable to break neither the high of the previous candle nor the low of the previous candle. Okay, so this is the basic definition. What it represents, it basically represents indecision formation. So it is inside bar is also known as the child bar. So if this is known as the child bar, then the previous candle is known as the mother bar. Okay, just remember this, the previous candle is known as the mother bar. So let's move ahead. Before even knowing how to trade inside bar, we should first and foremost know when not to trade an inside bar. So whenever market goes into a consolidation or forms a range, very important that you should avoid trading any inside bars. So this is the support, this is the resistance, this is the support, and market is within this particular zone. Now within that, if you spot an inside bar, which is the case here, see, this is an inside bar. Now if you try to spot the breakout or a breakdown within, when the market is within a range, then that is surely not going to work. So if you want to ensure that your capital grows, so please ensure that you avoid taking trades on inside bar when the market is in consolidation. Now when I started trading in the markets, I also was very much intrigued by this particular concept of inside bar, and just like you all, I also started watching YouTube videos and started trading using those logic. But what I saw, that my SLs used to get hit frequently. That's when I realized not all inside bar works the same. So we have to do filters. We have to filterize inside bars according to which inside bar works the most. So remember, not all inside bar is going to work for you. So just be very choosy about the inside bars that you are going to trade. We will definitely build some rules, and that's what we are going to see in the upcoming slide. As I said, if you want to ensure that you want to reduce your stop losses and reduce your drawdowns, then you have to be very choosy about what inside bars you are trying to trade. So as I said, as per my experience which I had after watching few YouTube videos, I saw that the SLs were constantly getting hit. So now these are the rules that we are going to follow to ensure that the SLs will remain very small, but at the same time we are never going to miss out on any trending day. Okay, so the basic three setups when to trade an inside bar setup are basically three parts. I've divided into three parts. One is breakout after consolidation, the second one is support and resistance, and the third one is price, when price reacts with the 10 moving average. Now I just want to tell you one thing. For this to understand, you have to first and foremost, you have to understand how support and resistance works. So for those of you who haven't watched our video on support and resistance, please go and give a watch for that particular video first and then come back to this video. Then you will be able to understand it in a much better way. Okay, before discussing all these three setups, now a lot of you have this query of which time frame to use, where exactly to be done, and you can basically try any time frame which is 15-minute and above. So 15-minute and above, all the time frames you can use this particular setup. Any time frame which is below 15-minute, the accuracy will drop like anything. So okay, so just remember, you can try it on 15-minute, on 30-minute, hourly, daily, so and so forth. Okay, but don't go below 15 minutes, like 5 minutes or 1 minute. This is not going to work. I mean, the accuracy will drop a lot. Just stick to 15 minutes and above. That's all. So I have now addressed on the time frame. Now let's go and understand these particular concepts. So the first one is breakout after consolidation. You can just grab a piece of paper and a pen and just write it down. The first one is breakout after consolidation. So here you can clearly see how a consolidation after a breakout happens. So the market is consolidating here. Okay, what will happen usually after consolidation? Market will either give a breakout. Whenever it breaks on the upside, I call it as a breakout. Whenever it breaks on the downside, I call this as a breakdown. Okay, so let's assume this is a red candle, this one shaded one, and this blank candle is a green candle. So if it breaks on the upside with the green candle, it's a breakout. If it breaks on the lower side with the red candle, it's a breakdown. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to simply trade the follow through. Now from the support and resistance video, we are very clear that after the range, market usually gives a big move, and it usually is a trending move. So a lot of you, especially the option buyers, would definitely want to capture the trending moves. Having said that, option sellers want to ensure that if they are in a strangle, they don't want to remain on the trending side, on the short position. Okay, so for an example, let's say the market is giving a breakout. Now for option sellers who are sitting in strangles, they basically want to ensure that they don't sit on the call sell leg for a longer time, because what will happen, it will be very difficult to manage. Let's go and understand on the charts. Now here we are on a daily time frame of Bank Nifty. So this is the support that we are talking about since quite some time, and now this is basically the consolidation range that we are talking about. Why this is a consolidation? Because here we can clearly see some sort of a resistances building up, and here there are supports which have been respecting since quite some time. Now what we are seeing, what we are looking at is basically a breakdown, right? And there is this inside bar. The moment this inside bar is taken out, we can see a trending move. So you can clearly see that the risk reward for this particular setup is really good. Now we'll just go and measure that out. Okay, I'm taking a short position which is at the break of this low. I'll take the entry at the break of this child bar. So the moment this particular low, just read it here, I'll just read it out for you as well. The low of this child bar was 43,567.45. So let's assume I am taking it at 43,565. Okay, the moment 43,565 is taken out, I'll short this particular at this particular level. I'll be basically if you're shorting options, then you will basically short call options. But let's say if you're going long on puts, you'll basically go long on puts at this particular level, at the break of this particular level. Okay, the level is 43,565. And what will be the SL? I'll definitely see, I do understand the SL would be shorter here. The chances of getting a wick or something is pretty high here. That's the reason I would prefer to keep the SL as mother candle. Now understand, I am okay with the lower quantity, because the moment my SL goes up, the quantity goes down. But I am okay with the lower quantity. But what I'm focusing on is the accuracy. I want to ensure that I don't get out of the trade due to frequent SLs. So that's the reason I am saying I'm okay with the lower quantity, just that I want to ensure the accuracy. So I'll keep the SL as mother candle. Now with your experience, if you find or if you understand that this particular SL works fine for you, the child bar, then please go ahead. But before that, first do back test. Okay, so I'll just keep this SL here at the mother bar high, and we'll just go and check what was the typical RR in this particular case. The RR works out to be 3x. Okay, so for every 1 unit of risk that you have taken, you have been rewarded for 3x of this particular risk. Okay, now I'll come to the rules that we need to ensure at what levels and all. But first, let's understand with more examples. Now I am taking you on a 15-minute time frame, and the previous example we did on a daily time frame, and that was a breakdown. Now this time we are basically looking on a 15-minute time frame. So I've come to a 15-minute time frame, and what I can clearly see, as I mentioned, we are going to ignore the inside bars that have been formed when the market was in a range. So we are going to ignore this particular inside bar. We are going to ignore this particular inside bar. Okay, so what we are going to look for is, we are going to look for this particular candle. So now we know there is a breakout. Now we are waiting for an inside bar to happen. Now this is the first inside bar that we actually notice it out here. Now remember one thing, we know whenever there is a breakout, there will be usually a follow through of that. So now this particular inside bar is giving a breakdown on this particular side, but we know there was a breakout, and as per the support resistance, we know usually this erstwhile resistance will now turn into support. So what, unless that gets taken out, we are not going to enter shorts. So I am going to ignore the short opportunity that I'm going to get here, okay, because I simply know that after a breakout there is usually a follow through. I'll wait for an inside bar setup to happen on the long side, because now I'm biased on the long side. Finally, I get this particular inside bar. Can you see this small green candle? So on a 15-minute time frame, I know I basically have to wait for the high of this particular candle to be taken out. The inside bar candle high is 47,620. The moment this 47,620 is taken out, I'll be going long with the mother candle low as my SL. So I'll mark the SL in black color, 47,500, and 47,620 will be my long, 47,625. Okay, so let's say at this candle my entry gets triggered. Now my SL will be on closing basis, which means if I get a closing 15-minute candle closing below this particular candle of 47,512, only then I'm going to exit. Now this is my entry. I'll mark this in green because it's an entry, right? This is my entry and this is my SL. So my entry will happen the moment this candle, so I'll see this is the mother candle, this is the inside bar candle, so I have to wait it out. So my entry will happen in this particular candle, okay? The moment that level gets taken out, my entry will happen here, okay? This third at 2:15, my entry will happen not on the closing basis, but when the candle is breaking out the inside bar. The moment that happens, my entry triggers here. My SL is 47,512 closing basis, on 15-minute closing basis, and there is no momentum. The very next day at 9:15, market opens with a slight gap, goes down all the way and comes back up. I still don't get a 15-minute closing below this particular low of 47,500. Hence, I'm still in the trade. And then, can you see the up move? Now, again, we will go and check my risk reward on this particular long position. This is my SL. And let's say if I'm taking only up till this particular up move, ultimately the market moved up till this level. But let's say for whatever reasons we are taking up till this level, till the RR is 5x. Now, let's say we are roughly looking at till only this level, still I'm at 4x. So now you know how to align yourself and how to avoid all the non-working inside bars and just to, take that pain of SLs. So now let's look at more such examples. So I'll just draw a line. So this was basically our support. I'll just show you on a replay basis as well. So this is where basically we get a breakdown of this particular support. Okay, this is where we are getting a breakdown of this particular support. This support was around 47,200. Okay, now we are basically going to wait for an inside bar. As we mentioned, whenever the market is in a range, we are basically going to ignore all the inside bars whenever market is going to be in a range. Let's say this was the range, we are going to ignore all the inside bars that are happening within this particular range. Now we know this particular support was broken. Now we simply have to patiently wait for an inside bar. Okay, so we'll move ahead and see this particular thing. Can you see this? Now this is a proper inside bar. Now I'll tell you where our entries will get triggered. So basically it's a breakdown of a support. So what we will do, we will basically short this. So our shorting area would be the low of this particular inside bar, and my stop loss would be somewhere here. So as I said, we'll initiate our shorts at the low of this particular, the moment this low of the child bar gets taken out, we'll initiate the shorts. Now why shorts? Because we know this support has been taken out. This support has been freshly broken, and the SL would be the high of this mother candle. Okay, so the entry is 47,060 and the SL would be 47,250. Okay, now let's see what happens post that. We were not getting any follow through. This was our entry. Can you see this? The very next candle gave us an entry because it broke below this particular low, but there was no follow through for good amount of time, and post 145 we got a fast down move. So imagine if you have sold calls, anything that is about this or this level, you would have easily made money. Or for that matter, if you're holding puts, then can you just see the momentum that you are getting? Now if you want me to do the this one, the RR, I'll just show you that also. So this was our entry, this was the short position, right? This was our entry, and this is our SL. The mother buy high is an SL. Now this is very different from what you would actually go and check out on YouTube. They usually say the SL should be short, should be small. They would usually keep it at the high of the child bar, but I'm telling you, just focus on this one for now, because you have to improvise your trading abilities right now. You want to basically have some accuracy on those setups. So now just clearly see, can you see the RR is 2.62, and even if this pullback happened, still it never took your SL. Now obviously, as I said, we have some strict rules where to trail and all of those things, and I'll come to that, but I'm just saying. So this is what our first setup of this particular thing was. This is basically a breakout or a breakdown after consolidation. I've written only breakout. It's basically breakout or breakdown. So when there is a breakout, we will look long position using the inside bar. When there is a breakdown, then we will see only for short position. So just to explain you, we are moving within a consolidation range. Finally, we get a breakout. All we are going to do, we are going to wait for an inside bar, and not just that, we will wait for an inside bar that breaks on the upside. Why? Because our bias is on the upside, because we saw a fresh breakout. Now let's say there is this inside bar formation. We'll place our entry above the high of this particular inside bar candle. So the moment that gets triggered, our SL would be the low of this mother bar. Okay, entry would be the high of this child bar, and SL would be the low of this mother bar, and that's how we will capture the uptrend. Similarly, let's say if it breaks on the downside, we will wait for an inside bar. The moment we get an inside bar, we have a biasness on the downside, because we know it broke down from the fresh consolidation. Now we'll place our entries below this to short the market if you are doing futures, but I would prefer this is better to do it on options, because the stop losses are very far away. So if you are buying puts, then your entry gets triggered at the break of this particular low of this child bar, and SL would be the high of this mother bar. Okay, and that's how we will do this. So this is breakout or a breakdown after consolidation. Now that was the first one, which was breakout or breakdown after consolidation. Now let's look at the second type, which is support and resistance. So the first one of this one is basically trade follow throughs. Okay, the first one is trade follow through. This is exactly same that we just discussed, which is breakout or breakdown of a support and resistance. Okay, of a consolidation. Okay, so I'll just cover the second one, which is reversals, and this is also equally important, but this one is a very advanced point, so please listen carefully and write down the notes accordingly. As I said initially, if you haven't watched our support and resistance video, then it will be very difficult for you to understand this particular concept. So if you haven't watched it, please go and check that out. And even if you have watched it, if you rewatch it, then it will just clarify more concepts. Now let's quickly dive in. So what we have learned, the support and resistance. Whenever market breaks a fresh resistance for the first time, and whenever it comes back, it is going to take support over there, vice versa. Now let's go and check on the charts. Now this was the breakdown concept that we learned, wherein this was the inside bar that we were concerned with. Now we know that the erstwhile support is now going to turn into a resistance, right? This was the support. Now this level is going to turn as a resistance. So 47,200 will act as a resistance. Now all we have to do is wait for that reversal to happen. So the moment we see this kind of a reversal, and now that we know there is a resistance here, we just have to wait for an inside bar to spot. We get an inside bar here. Okay, the moment we get an inside bar here, can you see this candle? We have to enter shorts below the low of this particular inside bar candle. I'll just mark the level. I'll just place my entry for the shorts here, and I'll mark it in red. At the break of this particular inside bar, I'll enter shorts, and my SL would be the high of this mother candle. So this is basically where we trade reversals. So can you see this? I am basically trying to enter at the break of 47,120 with the SL of 47,230, and then we will see how it worked. Can you see this? This is how it beautifully worked. If you want me to compute the risk reward, I'll just do that. One is our short position. I'll just this one, the RR for this particular setup for this was 7R, more than 7R. As I said, I'll definitely get into the profit booking rules, but I'm just telling you the potential of this particular setup. And as I said, we are not trading all the inside bars. Now, for those of you who find it very difficult to spot inside bars, what you can do, you can simply use one particular indicator, inside bar visualizer. Okay, this one. Okay, inside bar visualizer. Wait out, flag inside bars, and I'm just putting, I just want this cross. Okay, so can you see so many inside bars you can spot? As I said, if you just rely on the indicator, you will basically end up trading all the inside bars, and thereby you will never make any money. So if you just take consider all the rules that we just discussed and then trade the inside bar, it will be much more fruitful. Not just that, you will be able to get some confidence on this particular setup because you are making consistent money on this particular pattern. As I said, not all inside bars are the same, so you have to be very choosy as to which inside bar you are betting on. So this particular indicator is for those of you who are unable to spot inside bars with their bare eyes. Okay, so now let's go and check on the third one, the third setup. So now the last and third setup is when the prices reacts with the 10 moving average. Now you will ask me, ma'am, which time frame? Again, as I said, you can use this particular setup on a time frame of 15-minute and above. 15-minute and above. This setup works well for 15-minute and above. As I said originally when we started this video, I'll just tell you what 10 moving average importance is, and then let's go quickly on the charts. I'll just put an indicator of moving average. Basically, it's a very simple moving average, no exponential, nothing at all. I'm just keeping it very simple. Don't get confused. I'm changing the length to 10. That's all. First and foremost, what this 10 moving average tells you. Can you see the prices, how it is basically respecting 10 moving average, which basically tells us that the trend on the upside is very strong. Now, here if you see, can you see what it is telling? That the trend on the downside is strong, that the 10 moving average is not easy to cross. Prices are not able to cross 10 moving average easily. On the upside, here it is telling you prices are not able to cross 10 moving average on the downside, which means we clearly now know that the market is in an uptrend, which is very strong. So then we have to basically trade with the trend. Okay, just remember this line. What we have to do, we have to simply remember this line. We have to basically trade with the trend. Okay, and how we are going to do? The moment prices are respecting 10 moving average, we know that the trend is very strong. So if we are seeing that whenever prices touch here and it bounces immediately, whenever the prices touch near the 10 moving averages and it moves up immediately, we know that the trend is on an upside. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are simply going to find inside bars and trade with the trend. So for that matter, can you spot the inside bar here? What I'll do, this cross, I'll just enlarge this even more. This cross is the inside bar. Now I know I have to trade with the trend. What I'll do, I'll simply enter here, take an entry here, green, and my SL would be the low of the mother bar. And remember, it is always on the closing basis and not on the this intraday moves. One particular 15-minute candle has to close below this 46,026. Only then my SL gets hit. Otherwise, I am sitting through. So this, can you see this? Price definitely went down, but it's more of a shakeout. So actually our SL never got this. We never got our SL's hit of this particular trade. Now can you see the entire up move, how it went? If you want me to show the RR, I'll show you that also. Long, enter here. SL would be the low of the mother candle, and you just count this. I'm just taking till here. Till here also it is simply 9.8 or roughly 10x. Now if you want to take the entire up move, then you do the math. I'll just show you the potential of this particular pattern. With such a small stop loss, you are able to write 15R. Okay, does that mean every time you will wait for 15R? The answer is no, and we have some rules for that. Similarly, this was the trade with the trend. Another inside bar formation. Can you check this? 3 inside bars in a row. What will you do? You will simply take an entry here. I'll mark it in green. Keep the low as the SL of the mother candle, the big mother candle, this candle low, and then you will play for this. Again, this one is a trade with the trend. Again, here you found an this one inside bar. Now, as I said, I'll be biased if the trend is on the upside. I'll only look for inside bar breakouts that are going on the upside. Now let's talk about the downside. Now I know that the markets are taking serious resistance, because can you see prices are not able to close above 10 moving average. Can you see this is just one a blip, but otherwise if you see it again comes down, which shows that the 10 moving average, that the trend on the downside is strong. What I'll do, I'll simply have to find this particular inside bar. At the break of it, again I'll trade. It's that simple. Similarly, this I am doing it on 15 minutes. You can go and check on the daily time frame as well. So these are the three conditions wherein we will trade inside bars. I hope you all are very clear on the conditions that we are going to trade. If you are going to trade any inside bar that shows up on the chart, you're sure gonna lose money. If you want to make money using the inside bar candle strategy, then please ensure that you are following all these conditions. Only then you are trading. So remember, not all inside bars are the same. You have to be very choosy. And how you can choose the best setups is by following these conditions. Now let's come on the profit booking rules. It's very clear that whenever the trade is at 2R, which means you are up by 2R, let's say you have risked 100 rupees on that particular trade, and now you're looking at a profit of 200 rupees. The immediate action of yours should be to trail the entire size to cost. So then now you're not going to lose money at all. Whenever the trade is at 3R, book out 50 to 60% of the quantity and balance trail at 2R. I'll show it on the charts, because then it will be very easier. I'll keep this also, and let's say we have taken the trade here. Any trade would be fine, or here this 3 inside bar. So let's say this is my stop loss. Let's say I'm coming around this level. This is the level 47,132. This is where I know I will trail my SL to cost. Okay, at this level I'll mark it in yellow. Okay, so my trade is on and I'm up by 2. See, I entered here. I entered at the high of this particular candle, marking it as a green because that's an entry long, and this is my SL, right? This was my original SL. Now I will trail my SL to cost. What was my cost? It is 46,929. So what I'm simply going to do is, this was my entry. Now I'm going to trail it. So can you see the black line actually shifted upwards? Now even if let's say the prices will reverse, if at all the prices reverses from here, I'm not going to lose anything, because I will end up cost to cost. This is just the trailing once you are up by 2R. Now let's say I am up by 3R. Let's go and check the 3R. So okay, let's say this is where my 3R happens. What I will do, I will trail my SL at 2R. This is my trailing. Now can you see, earlier my SL was 46,830. Thereafter I trailed it to 46,929. Now I am trailing it to 47,132. So can you see how I am protecting? First I was protecting my capital. When I trailed it for the first time, I protected my capital because my trailing was at cost to cost. The second time when I'm trailing TSL, here I am protecting my profits. When this particular setup is giving me 3R, let's say I am having the 100 quantity. What I'll do, I'll simply book 50% of it, which means I'll book out 50, and what remains is only 50 quantity with me now. I have booked out 50%. Now let's see what happens later on. Now let's say it runs in my favor and it goes all the way up till 4R. Now the moment it comes to 4R, what I'll do, I'll simply trail my entire portfolio to 3R. First of all, I'll trail it to 3R. Now look at my fresh TSL. Okay, this is my fresh TSL. I even trailed it further, and what I'll do, at 4R I am going to book another 20%, another 25%, which means I will book out 25% of the original quantity, which means I'll book out another 25 quantity, which means I'm left with only 25%, 25 quantity. Now let's say this particular comes and touches here, right? It went up all the way, and maybe by then it would be 5R. So let's go and check that first. Okay, no, it actually got hit here itself. Okay, so basically I ended up closing all my the balance quantity at 4 hour itself, because I trailed it to 4 hour. So that's how you do it. Now similarly, if you start doing it from here, we can look at that as well. I'm just again showing the same example, how to trail long position here, stop loss at this level. Let's enter into longs at this level. Longs will be marked as green and SL would be marked at the low of the mother bar with black. The moment I'm up by 2 hour, all I have to do, I have to trail my SL to cost, which means this green line where I have entered, now this will be my fresh trailing. The moment I am moving to a 3 hour setup, what I am going to do, I'll simply trail it to 2 hour, which would be somewhere around here. Okay, now I have trailed my entire profit to 2 hour. Now let's say this is the 3 hour and I'm just marking the level here. Okay, now let's say the entire when it reaches to 3 hour, I'm also going to book out 50% of the quantity. Let's say I'm working with 100 quantity, I'll book out 50 quantity. What remains is 50 quantity. So I am booking out 50% of the quantity here at 3 hour, and balance I trailed at this particular cost of 2 hour. Balance I trailed at 2 hour. Okay, so this is my TSL 2 hour. Prices never touched this level, and in fact market even went higher. So now I have to wait for a 4 hour. So this is where the 4 hour happened. This is where the 4 hour happened. Just simply mark this level. At 4 hour, I am going to book another 25% of quantity of the original, which means I'll book out another 25. What remains is only 25 quantity now. I have written it here that I booked another 25 quantity at 4 hour and trailed the balance 25 quantity at 3 hour. So now my trailing works at 46,583, and I booked out here, and I'm waiting for this SL to get hit. It never did. It even went higher. Now this is where market moved by 5 hour. Now I'm just holding the balance 20. See, now what I'll be doing now, I'll just simply wait, because now I have only 25% of the quantity left. I'll simply keep trailing it because I want to ride the entire trend. But let's say once I'm doing that and I get another setup again, I'll take a fresh entry here. So that's how you build your positions and you book out in the strength. Okay, so there is something called as selling on strength. So basically we are exiting when the market is strong, and rest of the thing we will trail whenever it will hit our trailing SL. It could be 7 hour, it could be 8 hour, it could be 9 hour, but then we will be able to ride the entire up move. That's the whole idea about it. So if you want, I'll just keep this particular slide open so then you can read out and make sense out of it. It's very easy, exactly what I explained. When your trade is at 2 hour, first thing is to trail it to cost. When the trade is at 3 hour, book out 50 to 60% as per your comfort, and then balance trail to 2 hour. When the trade is at 4 hour, book out the balance 20 to 25% and trail it to 3 hour, and so on and so forth. That's how you will ride the whole trend. So I hope you are very much clear about this particular setup by now, and now you know how to trade inside bar candle without taking so many S's, because that's not required. So just remember, if you trade with proper rules, with proper filters, which we have done, and as I said, we have also developed all these strategies after filtering out all the bad inside bars, and then this is how we came up to this particular setup. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, and if I get 1,000 likes on this particular video, then you can be rest assured that we will be coming up with more such videos where we will share you all the insights, and we will tell you the fine points, how to differentiate, just the way I did it here, how to differentiate a good inside bar versus a bad inside bar, and how to trade properly using those filters. So if I get 1,000 likes on this particular video, be rest assured that we are going to give you some really interesting content which will definitely help you. Hope you like this video, and if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Do share our video if you want us to grow this particular channel. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon on the next video. Bye bye.